Now, this gentleman needs no introduction, but our general manager, COO, Jim Pryor from Bentry Corporate. Jim, come on up and I'll get your presentation put in.
All right, thank you. It's always great to come roll around to the first Saturday in December. This is my third time coming in front of you. Always a great crowd, and appreciate you coming out. And that signifies that I've been here 3 years. And I had somebody come into my office the other day, and he says, you cost me a lot of money. And I said, well, what do you mean? Did you have speeding fines and everything? He says, no. I bet somebody $1,000 before you came here that you wouldn't last 30 days in this community. And so 3 years, it's coming up. It's gone very, very quickly, and I'm excited to be at Bentry. I always appreciate Brian and working with Lake and Wildlife. We do meet a lot, so a lot of those volunteer hours is him coming to us, and it's not to discuss his favorite color most times. We have a lot going on with the community being here. If you remember last year, those of you that endured my presentation, that brought back memories when I woke up this morning. I had Bell's palsy last year. And I still showed up to speak and battled through that presentation, went home and slept for 5 hours because it was the most grueling thing. But, I thank God every morning that I wake up and I'm fully functioning, and I jumped out of bed this morning excited to drive up into the fog of Bentry. So everything is good. Do you have a clicker?
You betcha.
Oh, the clicker's right here in front of me.
Yeah,
all right.
We actually have a pointer though.
No, I don't need a pointer. I'll use my finger for that. Before I get started, we have a lot of great volunteers at Bentry, but we also have a great staff. That's what makes coming to work for me such a joy, is the TCI team that we have assembled, not only our executive team, but our managers and our entry-level staff that work with residents every day. The staff reaches out, they're service-oriented people, they have great attitudes, and they really do their best each day to make Bentry a better place. And so I'm honored to work with that group of team. I'm very proud of them and what they accomplish. And many of the things I share with you today are the accomplishments of the collaboration and the efforts of our team. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through 2025 and talk about some things that we've accomplished, both capital-wise and operational-wise. And then I'll flip things over and talk to you about what the board has approved in the budget next year and some things we have coming for 2026. So one thing when I first came in here, the committee came and says, Jim, we need somebody to build consensus. Get people on the same thought of where we're going with this community. And that's a challenge, because this community doesn't agree on anything. I call it a 50-50 community. Any decision I make, 50% of the people are going to like it, 50% are going to hate it. And as Chris Tansel says, well, I kind of have the same thing, except I have to make 51% of the people happy. We came in, did some consensus meetings, did a community survey, got a lot of great information, and then we were able to put together what was called a vision committee that gave recommendations to the board and created a 5-year vision plan. It's long. 5 years is long range for Bentry here, so we wanted to get something that was obtainable and something we could work on very quickly. So the vision plan was put in 2024. So we're about a year and a half in on working with that, and some initiatives that were part of the plan that we were able to address in 2025 was Lake and Wildlife's Rick Patterson put together the Lake Tamarack Recreation Area Plan. Rick Patterson also chaired a committee to do the Habitat Conservation Plan, which we put into action in 2025. The 28-acre campground property at the bottom of the hill, looked for options for revenue from that. And we had one plan come in front of the community. We might have another one come, which I'll address a little bit later in the conversation. We made improvements to our 19th hole facility, which is one of the major amenity hubs of the community. We continued to do roadway infrastructure improvements. And then with short-term rentals, instead of fighting it over and over, we implemented via community vote a $25 a day, what we call resort fee, meaning that if somebody rents out their property on a short-term rental basis, we get $25 a day from that rental. That's going to accumulate this year up to close to probably about $80,000 in additional revenue just from that $25 fee. So for those of you that hate short-term rentals, we're now getting a benefit out of this, and that new revenue stream goes directly into capital improvements to our amenities. So there's a new revenue stream that's making a lot of these capital projects happen. So those were just some initiatives that were our focus in 2025. And this is a list, a kind of a grid of what all the initiatives of the vision plan are. And what you see in green are the items that have actually been attended to or accomplished. So we're talking about a year and a half into a 5-year plan, and we have a lot of green up there. So those were the initiatives directly related to the community. Those in white, we've been working on, but haven't fully been addressed. And a lot of those are going to be initiatives for 2026 coming on here soon. So the vision plan that was put in place, we're making great strides towards all those initiatives in there. If I were to write a newspaper and I would have headlines for 2025, I would think back and say, what were the major items that happened in Bent Tree in 2025, and how would those headlines read? Creekside fails to get 2/3 vote, and that was the 28-acre property. Bent Tree Fire Department secures an ISO rating of 2. Improvements completed at the 19th hole. Bear shooting and abandoned cubs puts Bent Tree in the mainstream news. New resort fee provides revenue stream for annual capital fund. And road widening and paving project opens up Oglethorpe Mountain Road. So I call those the highlights, and I'm going to go through each one of those projects as we work through. So what were some capital projects that we finished up in 2025? The year before, we did a lot of improvements at the 19th hole with the ADA access ramp and some of our doors, the bathroom inside, the back stairway leading out of the pro shop that puts you out on flat ground. But this year, we were able to come back and we did new hardy plank siding and insulation all throughout that building. And just like the cottage that we did the year before, that siding on that building was very old. If you would have lit a match to it, the whole building would have went up. It was dust as they were tearing it off. And the insulation on the inside of it was 50-something years old. I mean, so it was great to be able to wrap that building up, re-insulate it all, re-side it, put a new gutter system on. We have a new roof on it that's just a couple years old. So the new gutter system and downspouts were a nice touch to it. And then, of course, the parking lot that was there, we actually engineered, designed it, and expanded it. We had a couple areas where we were able to make it larger, and we put new lining on it when we finished it there. We were able to take that parking lot from 45 spots to 61 spots. And that helps, as you know, we have tournaments and events and things at the tavern, so we have more designated parking spots. We do still have some overflow parking around the periphery of it, but we have that nice new parking lot there, and that was actually an add-on for our road paving project. Is what I call the cherry on top of a bid. The companies that were bidding, we got a really, really good price to do that parking lot because it was a very competitive bid. And so that was a add-on that we were able to include in the bid. The cottage, 2024, we did the outside of it. 2025, we came and did the inside of it. And we have 2 great staff members on our facility team, Junior Martin and Jason Millsap, that are very, very good with carpenter work, construction work, electrical work, and they coordinated most of the work. We actually only spent half the budget for this project because we ended up doing so much work internally. We did have some outside work, do flooring and painting for it all. But the goal of the renovation of the cottage wasn't to design a building that the general manager could live in, because that's not going to happen. It's the bus stop now. I don't want the bus stop in my front yard. But we wanted a building that was genuine and unique and original to Bent Tree. It was a major asset of this community as far as welcoming people when they came up to look at homes when this community started. Then general managers and superintendents lived there through time. But right now it is a great meeting facility, serves as a library. And the goal of the renovation, especially on the inside of it, was to preserve the character while modernizing the function of the building. So we wanted to bring this older building into 2020, but we wanted to keep the character. And I think we did a great job of that through the construction. We tore out the flooring of that building, the floor and the subfloor, and put all that in, so it's very secure flooring. I don't know if any of you noticed this or not, but that building, the main floor of it, wasn't flat. It had multiple dips and steps and a lot of trip hazards and everything like that. So when we tore that floor out, put a new subflooring and a new flooring on there, it is all one even seam now throughout all of that. We opened up the kitchen. So it makes the room feel bigger, but you can walk in and out of that kitchen now. We did new painting. We did a new stairwell. The old stairwell was kind of rickety if you were carrying things up and down it. Now we've expanded it out, and the steps are the same height all the way through there. The railing is very, very secure to navigate those stairs up and down. The bathroom that was there, we did the best we could to put a slot door in there, so we are now ADA access standard. We put a new sink in there, so we had plenty of space to enter that bathroom, turn the wheelchair around. We have the grab bars on the side wall, so the building is ADA accessible. And of course, last year when we did the outside, we put the new deck on that has the wheelchair ramp that goes up. Previous to that, you would have had to lift somebody up in a wheelchair physically to get them into the building. And now this building is ADA accessible. And to add to it, we bought in new furniture. Of course, we can't make everybody happy. I noticed the tables that we put in there are smaller than some of the card players like. But we do have tables that are nice. You can separate them into separate tables, or you can put them together for a conference table. And we have a new TV and wireless meeting technology in there where we can do PowerPoint presentations, just like you see right here on the TV. So it is a very high functioning meeting room now, as well as activities for what we have. So I think it's a very, very functional building, and we always are lacking meeting space here. And so I'm very, very proud that we're able to fill up that room with all kinds of activities through the day. The indoor courts facility, we were able to do an indoor resurfacing project. When you talk about acrylic surfacing on indoor or outdoor courts, you want to do that every 5 or 6 years because you get cracks in the acrylic. And if water gets in those cracks, it starts getting down into the subbase and creating wider cracks. So this is a preventative maintenance item. But in this facility, it was time for a new surfacing. And I think it looks very, very attractive to somebody that's coming to visit the community. So it was aesthetics as far and function. And so we have 2 fully lined tennis courts in there still. And we have 6 lined pickleball courts where we can bring the temporary nets in. We took the curtain out of the middle of the building to be able to do this. So I think attractive-wise and function-wise, this was a great project for Bentry. On our golf course, irrigation is the most important thing. If you do not have water on a golf course, your golf course is in trouble. You go into drought, you lose your greens, you lose your fairways. We had an irrigation system on our golf course that was about 40 years old, and we had a lot of problems with leaks, motors and pumps for that system that fail. And you know what? If you have a motor in one of the system of anything in your house and it's 40 years old and you go to replace it, what do they tell you? We don't make those anymore, and you have to get a new one. So that was the problem that we were working into, is they just weren't parts for our system that we have. So this was a 2-year phase project that we did in 2025, we'll do in 2026. But we replaced the motors and the pumps in all of our pump stations for our irrigation system for our golf course. Road paving, little by little. We have 47 miles of roads in Bentry. Some of them are in good condition. A lot of them are the original roads that were built 50-something years ago. You might live on one of those roads. We do have a condition rating of all the roads, and we've tried to get some of the worst roads. But right now, I'm kind of set in a way where we're doing like quadrants and areas. We have 2 companies that love working with us, so they bid against each other. The first paving project that I did when we first got here, we paid $469,000 per mile to pave a road. Of course, that was Big Stump, and that was up on the top. But these 2 companies are great paving companies. They love coming into Bentry and working on us. Last year, our paving project, we paid $269,000 per mile. So the fact that we have two competitors to bid this out, I wish I had paving money every year where we could get it done. So that's where we're trying to get with our capital money, where we can do little by little. But last year we were able to do 3 miles of roads plus the parking lot at the 19th hole. And so with this, we were able to widen. We're trying to get all the roads that we're paving to 14 feet, because 14 feet is where you can put a center line in and two cars can, I'm not going to say comfortably pass, but two cars can pass. And so we were able to do that with Oglethorpe Mountain. That was an 11-foot wide road. We are now 14 feet wide all the way down Oglethorpe Mountain. And then Panorama Point, Thunder Ridge, and Briar Vista are all connector roads off Oglethorpe Mountain. I get better pricing when I keep them in a region instead of popping around the community everywhere where they're mobilizing their equipment. So this paving project went very well. It was efficient. It took 9 days for them to complete this project. And then they came back and were able to do the striping. So we were able to get that done, and Oglethorpe Mountain residents are now happy. They even threw a pizza party in celebration for it. You know, you feed the general manager, I guess you get his attention. Through our golf course, we have a lot of culverts, as you see on the bottom right-hand corner. They were the old metal culverts. They were small in nature, and they, over the years, have bent, rusted, warped, and you know, water goes where it wants to go. If you could tell it where to go, it makes it seamless and better. But if you have clogged up culverts or culverts that don't work, water goes where it wants to go, and that forms erosion issues. And we have a lot of those through our golf course. We're a hilly community, and water can do a lot of devastating things to what we have. So on hole number 11, it's a very, very beautiful creek that comes in front of those tee boxes there. And we were able to take the old culvert that they had that was in bad shape, dig it out, and we put a much larger culvert pipe in. So if we get bigger rainstorms and we have more water, we have more room for it to go now through that pipe, and we keep the water in the channel instead of having to deviate it around the channel. So that was a project that we got finished that really opened up and preserved the banks of that creek, and we're going to do more of those as we move along. We have a wonderful water system at Bent Tree. We have, over the past 10 years, our staff has been digging trenches and putting in a new 6-inch mainline water to replace in a lot of areas an old 2-inch line. So 6 inches gets you more water, more pressure, and this is a big capital project that is needed to be done. So within our crews, we do about 5,000 linear feet a year of that, laying that new water line. That's digging the trench, putting in a new line, taking out the old line. And when we do this, we put a fire hydrant in every 500 feet. So we have a lot more fire hydrants into this community, thus better coverage with our lines. This past year, they had a very, very big task ahead of them. They went up Stone Ridge Court. Has everybody in here ever driven up Stone Ridge Court? This is like laying a water line through Stone Mountain, or up the side of Stone Mountain. I know all of you have climbed Stone Mountain before. It was complete rock going up Stone Ridge Court. And so we did buy a new hydraulic jackhammer, which worked wonders of digging that trench and putting that water line in. But they went across the spillway to the dam, to Hummingbird Lane. And this year, with the expense of it doing it all, we were able to do 4,500 feet. With this main water line replacement, we're about 85% through with the entire community. Wow. So we're probably about 4 years away from finishing up fully, going 500 or 5,000 linear feet. Club Tamarack access path. This is something that happened right out here. We could have trucks access the lower pool. We could have people that want to take their coolers down there access the lower pool. The deck was built for concerts, to get concert equipment down there. It made it easier. And you look at that and you say, Jim, that's not Jim Pryor standard right there. That doesn't look too special. Why are you putting that picture up there? The septic lines from this building go out to the side of that building and run right through where that trail is. So we can't put any solid surface on top of there. That's why we had to put a crush and run. We did put geofabric underneath that holds the rock in place. And so this is more of a trail access path but it does allow you to get trucks, golf carts, anything down there without destroying the septic lines. And then this was another big project that has been kicked the can down the road for 10 years. This is a project that's been kicked down the road. Our water plant, we have 3 filtration systems in there, meaning we take the water out of a reservoir, we pump it through a filtration system, and then we push it up to the water tanks that serve our gravity-fed system. One of those tanks was new about 13 years ago. We went from 2 tanks to 3 tanks. But then we had the original 2 tanks that were in that center. So all the years of filtering water through that system, you can imagine what plaque had built up through there. This year we hired a company to come in for 2 of our water filtration systems, completely sandblast them. Take all the guts out of them, sandblast them, paint them to make them look wonderful. And the picture on the far right is me looking down into it after it's been sandblasted and painted. The guts were in there, so we have brand new filtration systems on 2 of our units that were in there. They look wonderful. They're like brand new. This was a project that was projected to be $730,000. We went out to competitive bids, and we just finished this project for $489,000. This was a highly engineered project. We did have an outside engineer that did the work, and through this project we had 0 change orders. Through the paving project at Oglethorpe Mountain, we had 0 change orders. And as all of you know, change orders are very, very expensive because it puts all the leverage on the contractor. So we finished 2 giant projects this year with 0 change orders, and both of them were hundreds of thousands of dollars above anticipated budget. All right, let's go to operational items, things that just happened with the day-to-day operations in 2025. Melissa Leach, all of you know Melissa. She is our CFO, and absolutely love Melissa. Cherish every day that I get to spend with her because she is awesome. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to go ahead and announce it. Next year will be her last year. She will be retiring at the end of 2026. Glenn didn't tell me this when he hired me. So I walked in the door, and the first week I was meeting, Melissa said, "Oh, by the way, I'm retiring in 30 days. And I said, "What?" Melissa and I have gotten along together great. And so 30 days turned into 4 years beyond that. And so I'm finally going to let her walk out the door with that. But, she's wonderful. She did a big thing. Back when we went through COVID in this community, we were able to keep all the staff that we had, all the full-time staff that we had benefits. We didn't lay any of them off. Bent tree and endured them and kept those staff employed. And the government came together with the CARES Act. And part of the CARES Act now, the final stages of it, are rewarding those companies that kept their people employed and didn't send them to the unemployment line. And so this is something that we filed over and over again with IRS, and we didn't think we'd ever see any money out of it. In May of this year, we got a check from the IRS for $310,000 from the CARES Act. And that was money that wasn't budgeted, it wasn't expected. On a wing and a prayer, we submitted to the IRS year after year, and finally a check arrived. So that was the one good thing I'm going to say about the IRS, is they gave us a check. The board quickly put that money into the capital reserve account to preserve it and put it into capital projects. So it will be reinvested back into the community. But Melissa did a great job working with this and persevering. So she's responsible for that $310,000. This time last year, I had to stand in front of you with Bell's palsy and talk about one of the most frustrating things that's ever happened in my 30-year career of working in a business. And that's when we were cyber attacked and ransomed for 2 Bitcoin. Who the heck knows how much that was? They told me that was $289,000 at the time. But we did not give in to the ransom attack. We do have Jonas software that is highly encrypted on our end. So nobody in Russia had a subscription to Jonas, so they couldn't get any of our information. They did get some W-2s from employees from far back. So as you know, all of you do that, you probably have several companies monitoring all your credit and system, and we offered that for the employees to do that. But we were able to clean up the ransom attack pretty well. We had an insurance policy against this. It did not cost us very much money. Insurance covered it. We came in, wiped the servers clean, built an entirely new network. When our network was secure, Jonas put their software back on and we were in business. It was 3 months of dealing with not being able to use credit cards and frustrating, I know, for people. We actually had to go into the basement and pull out those credit card things where you put the thing in and you swipe. Yes, we still keep those in the basement. They're archives. We were able to use them and get by. But come February, we were back in action. We have all new high-tech credit card machines in all of our facilities, and things are operating well. What did we learn from the ransom attack? Well, one thing I could tell you is that the bad guys are always smarter than the good guys. And we all have to be weary of that every day that we live. It's one of the worst parts of the world that we live in. Technology controls what we do. So we're all at the mercy of bad people trying to steal our stuff. But in our new network that we put in place, we did bring in a full-time monitoring system now. That costs us a little bit of money every year. So we do have ransom and monitoring system where if anybody's trying to hack into our system, we know immediately. So we are more high-tech with that. Not to say we won't get hacked and ransomed again. You never know. But we have taken precautions to build our system up. Because why in the world would anybody from Russia want to attack Bent Tree? I mean, they attack governments and hospitals and things like that. Who would have ever thought us? Well, they got us, and so we're prepared for it now. So we were able to come back and get launched back into action. Those of you that eat at the tavern have noticed some improvements in customer service and what we do. We now take your order at the table on a little handheld computer, and when it's time to pay, they bring it to you and we check you out right there. So those of you that eat, you don't have to wait 40 minutes to check out and leave afterwards. We implemented a new system called Toast. We bought that and put that in. That's your handheld device. That allows for us to take the beverage cart out. The beverage cart brings in some pretty good revenue now that we can sell beverages on the golf course. But most importantly, Toast is an inventory system as well. So the Tavern Taree was able to do a good job of taking that menu down to bare bones basic, building the menus and putting them into the Toast system. And so now that helps with our inventory and our ordering. We have been able to build our menu back up, and we're not buying a whole lot of new ingredients or products. We're using what's in our inventory system. So we've become really, really efficient. Our food costs are going down. Our labor costs are in control. And those of you who've been to the board meetings now, the past several years we've lost $450,000 at the tavern. This year we're looking at probably a subsidy of about $270,000, and in next year's budget we're going to bring that down into the lower 200s. So we're getting there with some efficiencies, and Toast was one of those efficiencies put in place. So last year the state came out and rated us. Usually every 2 to 3 years the state comes out and rates your fire system. They look at your staffing, your training, your resources, your fire stations, where your hydrants are, and they give you an ISO rating. And your insurance company is the only one in this world that cares about ISO rating, because it's money coming out of your pocket. An ISO rating of 1 is the best you can get. There are 5 fire departments in the state of Georgia with an ISO of 1. That's how rare it is. Those are governments. Woodstock is one of them. They have the best fire stations you'll ever see if you drive through Woodstock. They've got brand new equipment every other year. So the fact that we got a 2 with the resources that we dedicate here is absolutely amazing. And Pickens County has a 5, and Talking Rock has a 17. So if you live in Talking Rock, you are paying astronomically for your insurance on your house. I don't know. I've never heard a rating for them. I don't know. So we have a 2. We probably save each of you about $300 a month on your home insurance. It may differ from your insurance companies with that, but on average house in Bent Tree, you probably save you about $300 a month with the fact that we have the resources to maintain a ISO 2. So at the end, nobody asked me, what's it going to take to get to a 1? We'd have to fully staff 24 hours a day 2 fire stations in Bentry to get you to a 1. Yes, ma'am.
Do the insurance companies know that, or is it up to us to let them know?
They all know that. If you go to your insurance company, some of them will say, yes, this saves you money. Some of them will say, well, we don't even look at that. They all look at it. Trust me, they look at it. But no, they all know that. When they insure a house, they look at the fire rating in the area. All right, waste management. You know, we rely heavily on waste management, and waste management is the biggest monopoly in the United States, other than the NCAA now with college football. But waste management runs the world. They are the closest thing to the mafia that we have now. And we rely heavily on them because we have a station in the front of our neighborhood where everybody brings the trash and puts it in there. Somebody has to haul it away and haul it to a landfill. And that's waste management. And we have a contract with them to come pick up our trash and take it away. Well, they send us a bill every month. And reading that bill takes a rocket scientist. We look at that, we have no clue what that billing means. And the price just keeps going up and up and up and up. Well, I was able to find a consultant, somebody that used to work in the trash business. He's out of Florida. And he's now like a waste consultant. So I reached down to him and contracted him. And I said, well, how much do you cost? And he goes, what I'll do is I'll take your bill and I'll renegotiate you a new deal with Waste Management, and you pay me 10% of what I save you. And so he renegotiated our bill with Waste Management, and we saved, with this new contract that we have a 3-year contract with them. We were able to lock in on pricing. We're saving about $36,000 a year from what we were paying before with our waste management contract. So that's one big improvement. Thank our board member, Scott Hucks. He was big into identifying the consultant for us and bringing up the idea. Have you ever looked at a consultant for doing that? So that turned out very, very well. We now have a solid agreement with Waste Management. To parallel on that, our waste management bill, if you look at our budget and review our budget like many of you do, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, wow, Jim said we're locked in. Why are we going up next year? Well, do you know the Bentry has a trash truck? Has any of you ever seen the trash truck? It's like 30 years old. It is like archaic. And we've had it, and we've put that thing together and welded that thing together. It's the trash truck our staff uses internally to come pick up the dumpsters at maintenance, the tavern, the stables. We run that thing through every couple times. And so we don't take it to the landfill and dump it until it's full. So, 3 or 4 weeks of trash sitting in that truck, and, it just got to be a bad situation where running the trash business yourself isn't that good. So when that trash truck dies, instead of paying $300,000 to buy a brand new one to replace it, we're just going to contract with Waste Management to come in and actually, it may not even be Waste Management. It may be one of the smaller companies. We'll send it out to bid. And so we do anticipate that our trash truck is going to die somewhere in 2026. We're prepared for it in the budget. It could happen on January 1st or it could happen on July 1st. But we've got money budgeted to start contracting that out instead of taking 18 years to make up for buying a $300,000 truck. Our golf leadership. We had Patrick Higgins. And Patrick was the pro when I got here. I know Russell before Patrick. I know Russell well. We've had some really good golf pros. I was really, really sad to hear that Patrick was leaving at the beginning of last year. You don't want to lose good staff, but Patrick, he went to work for Future Christian Athletes. It was a ministry. He's doing golf through ministry, and he's teaching youth. It's something that his heart led him to go to. He doesn't make as much money as we paid him, but it's a ministry, and he wanted to do it. I never stand in the way of anybody that wants to do that. So Patrick left. I still talk to him every couple of weeks. He's wonderful. But that opened up an opportunity for us to look at our golf program and grow our golf program. Now, hiring into today's world does come with some headaches. So we went through a minor speed bump, But at the end of the day, in June, Rob Spires moved from Tampa, Florida into this community to be our new golf pro. 30-year veteran golf pro, merchandising expert, Class A PGA professional, and he's here with us at Bentry. Our golf course and what we do with our golf course is about to change drastically. You have seen rolling out next year that we have a new fee structure, a new membership structure. It's less. And everybody's like, well, how are you going to increase revenue by charging less? This is one instance where we have a professional where less is more. We believe we're going to generate more memberships with our package and our plan. We're going to have more people playing. Our pro shop is going to generate more revenue in merchandising. It already has. He's come in 6 months. It's what he's doing in merchandising is amazing. Those of you that walked in the pro shop, you come in and say, Jim, he doesn't have anything in there. That's because every time we order it, he sells it in a couple days. So, I mean, he's creating, he's not trying to be PGA Superstore or Walmart. He's trying to be Bentry Golf Club. So we have a lot of logoed items and merchandise in there. Something special when you come to Bentry that you can get a shirt with the logo. You can't buy that at PGA Superstore. That's the new business plan that we have with that. But so Rob's come in as our professional. Like I said, I don't think he's here for a day or two. He actually bought a house and moved into Bentry because him and his wife wanted to relocate to this area. And so they found a very, very happy place. And he's come in and just taken over wonderful. Even better story than that is Bobby Gracie's our new assistant professional. Bobby's been on our maintenance team for the last 6 years. His parents live here. Bobby was in the PGA program at a course down in Florida, came up here, and the job was to work on the maintenance crew. And Bobby has done that for us. When the position came open for assistant pro, Bobby came and said, I'd really like to get back into the PGA program. He's lost about 200 pounds of weight, and he looks wonderful, and he's happy, and he's thriving. And so Bobby came in as the assistant pro working under Rob now, trying to get his Class A certification, and that's about a 3-year program. And so, anybody that works their way up from a maintenance job outside working on the golf course today, to working up to a professional position, having Bobby in that role as a mentor to Rob is just a great, great story for Bentry. And then with our golf course, we have 5 staff that work in there in a part-time role, and they're members of our community, and they're so valuable to our operations because they live with you, they know you, and it's just great having them being able to reach out to the community. And that's Brad King, Kathy Craig, Tim Lester, Dave Stewart, and Delene Potts. So they all work in about a 15 to 20 hour role for us at the golf course seasonally. Travis, who was mentioned many a times. Travis is a wonderful employee. Y'all all know Travis? Yeah. Travis. Travis is a blessing. Travis worked for me in Forsyth County, and he was my employee of the year the reigning 2 years before I came here out of 356 employees. He was employee of the year. And so he just so happened to live in Jasper and drove all the way to Forsyth County. So when I took this job, he comes up to me and he goes, hey, you need anybody at Bentry? And we found a position. He's been wonderful. And so it's awesome having Travis here. And he handles our grounds. He's also our new road superintendent as well. So he does roads and grounds and manages both of those staffs. He also enjoys the marina, the beach area, and does a lot of work and handiwork around there. And so this past year, if you ever noticed down at the marina, things are organized so much better. The racks, some of the racks were rebuilt. We added some areas. He labeled all the storage areas now so everybody knows where to keep their boat and put their boat. And that helps our public safety go down there and monitor that everybody's paying and has their boat stickers and has them in the right spot. And so Travis did that. We would really, as we work down at the marina, like to try to find more area to build more racks and keep more boats. It just is more demand of using the lake. So we are getting there to a day. As you see, some racks contain smaller boats, some racks contain bigger boats. The private pass program, that was something that was the board came about. We developed it. It was sent out to the community. Some people liked it, some people didn't. It is a opportunity for people to buy, I'm not going to say a membership because they're not voting members of Bentry, but use the amenities kind of as from an outside rate. This was an effort to increase marketing. We do vet the people that come in this program. They do background checks. So it is a program. It didn't take off. We had marketed it very, very hard. It didn't take off to the point we had thought it would. This past year, we've been able to generate 12 membership packages. We had the process before where it was a lot designation. You could come in from the outside by somebody designating their lot rights to you. We did away with that program, so we did convert over about 18 people that were in that program, plus added the 12 new memberships. So Private Pass, it does generate some revenue for us. It hasn't caught on what we like, but when we look and we say, how come Private Pass doesn't work? It's easy to tell why it doesn't work. Bent Tree is not the easiest place in the world to get to. So if you live like in Alpharetta or even Canton, getting up here to use the amenities, it's a tough jaunt to get up here to do that. Private Pass isn't cheap. We charge more for Private Pass than we charge for our membership rate for the people that live here, and we do that on purpose. So it's not cheap. It's not a discounted rate to come in and use our facilities. But also, you all have the ability at Bent Tree, and why Bent Tree is so wonderful is because we have a lot of flexibility. You have the ability to bring in guests. So if people want to come into Bent Tree to use our stuff, chances are good they know somebody in this community and are a guest of somebody. So they're like, why am I going to buy a membership when I can come in and pay the guest fee of somebody I know? So that's really the ultimate downfall of Private Pass is that, the people that live here locally, they know people in Bent Tree and they're able to get in and use the amenities. That's the way Bent Tree is set up. Look at our dam. Isn't that a pretty picture of our dam? Our dam is something. Most people don't give our dam enough credit, but if our dam breached, we'd flood the whole city of Jasper. That's how much of an important element that is. I mean, that dam holds water in a 114-acre lake. So the operation of that dam is very, very important. We were able to do something here that they haven't been able to do down the street, and that is control our sluice gate. And a couple of years ago, we were able to install the trash rack, have the sandblasters down there and unrust that thing to where we can go and we can open that and we can control our lake level. We can move it up and down. And by state requirement, we're supposed to be able to prove that we can do that one time a year. We did it 3 times this year because we had some different projects we had going on where we needed to lower the lake level a little bit to do that. And it is really, really nice that anytime we need to control the lake level, we have an operating sluice gate and can do that. Don't take that for granted. That was a very, very difficult project that I know the community stressed about for a long time. We don't have that stress anymore like they do at other places. Isn't that adorable? My wife jumped into the new place over at the Chastity Preserve and took those pictures. We had an unfortunate incident here. The first bear incident we've had in a long, long time. We had an irresponsible homeowner that did something they shouldn't have done. And they were punished by law and served jail time and had plenty of fines in Bent Tree and otherwise. But we did make the national news. Everybody now that looks up Bent Tree, it's like, oh, somebody shot a bear. Jim, what are you doing to the bears up there? It did create a lot of marketing for Bent Tree, a lot of unwanted marketing. But I want to tell you, there is a happy story at the end of this. There were 2 bear cubs that were orphaned that night that we were able to capture. We were hoping that they could adopt in on their own within the community. After a couple days, they weren't leaving the site of where their mom was killed, and they were never going to adopt into the community. Through the state wildlife, they put us in touch with the Chastity Nature Preserve, which it's over in Dahlonega. It's kind of like a zoo, but they rescue animals. And if any of you ever have a day or have grandkids here, make that trip over there. They've got Bengal tigers, bears, giraffes. They have all kinds of stuff. It's really, really cool, and it's really impressive. It's not over the top, beautiful like a zoo, but it's a group, a nonprofit group that does great work. They took our bears. Without any financial commitment from us, they took our cubs, and they fed them and nursed them, and they are actually now in their own, I'm not good. It's a cage. It's a really, really cool cage. It's got a lot of swings and different levels to where they can climb and do what they need to do. And it is because Bent Tree residents raised about $32,000 in the past year that we were able to send over there for that purpose. So we help feed the cubs through that donation. We built them a really, really nice habitat within this area where people can come up and talk to them and everything. And so they're happy. I did get a video yesterday of them. This picture was taken, wow, Margaret Ann, we went June or July maybe we went. This was how big they were in July. Right now, they big old bears. I saw a picture, but they're still happy and they're still thriving. Our little fellow over here on the right, he's the male. His name's Bentley. And his female cohort over here is Trina. So we got Bentley and Trina, and they're they're classified as the Bent Tree Bears. So they are doing well. Happy story at the end. Let's talk about 2026 and where we're going with some things. I'm going to jump right on out there from the beginning and talk about the big story. Dredging. We've got Lake Tamarack, 114-acre lake. The state of Georgia will tell you if you have a 114-acre lake, you're going to need to dredge that lake every 15 to 20 years. There's no getting around that. Sediment gets into that lake, and we're in a mountain community. You know, we have big storms that wash out roads. That 6 inches of rain in a day washes out stream banks, and there's a lot of hills. And where does all the water run? Into Lake Tamarack. We have a beach, sand washes into Lake Tamarack. We have a golf course, sand washes into Lake Tamarack. So we have areas of the lake that have sediment. We have areas of the lake that have mud. We have areas of the lake that have sand. We have multiple materials that wash into the lake. With the cooperation of Brian, about 2 years ago, we contracted with Aquascapes. I know you've heard from Paul from Aquascapes. And we came in here for them to do a baseline study of our lake. They went through the entire lake and probed from 1 feet deep to 90 feet deep to look at the sediment and what is in there and what was the condition of our lake. They came back and they said, you have 3 coves where the sediment has built up. The last dredging project we did was in 2009, 16 years ago. Okay, it's time. It's time. And while we tried to save money over the years to put in to do the dredging, you know, we just have things that come up in Bent Tree and that money, you know, wasn't there to do that. But we have 3 areas that were identified. That was the beach area, Goose Island, which was created when an entire roadbed washed out during a major storm. That's how that all got in there. We have the marina area, which has accumulated sediment. Not a lot of mud. That sediment is actually pretty soft in that area. We have the little pond that is up on Dr. Levine's property, where that dam has breached several times, and that waterway goes into Rocky Creek. And if you ever looked at Rocky Creek, it's very, very deep, and the banks have been washed out. So a lot of the sediment in the beach area has kind of come from years of Rocky Creek. And then we have Mulligan Cove, which Mulligan Creek carries a lot of water, and it washes into that cove. And just through years of sediment, that is actually a #1 distribution area. And Brian has worked on projects in Mulligan Creek trying to secure those stream banks. A lot of water comes through there at a rapid pace. And, you know, we worked with Jack White from the state to try to put the logs in there to secure the bank. And then we had a big old giant storm right after that happened. And Brian, at your expense, we kind of joke about that now. We now have the log ride. For any of you who've been to Six Flags, we have the log ride in Bent Tree because the water came through there and tore those logs out and just took it right on down there like what you'd see at Six Flags with that. At the end of the day, we have a problem where we have 3 coves that need to be dredged. We're looking at probably about $1.5 million project to do that. We looked at doing it over a 3-year period. When we put the budget together this year, we have multiple revenue sources that have come in play, such as the resort fee, such as the Tax Cares Act and everything. We were, with the board, we had many discussions. Instead of doing it 1 phase at a time, we decided to contract with 1 contractor to bring in to do the job all at one time. not to mess with our lake over a 3-year period. Let's just bring in a company and do it all at one time. So $1.2 million was approved in the capital budget for this year for us to do the dredging project, and it'll be done in 2026. Okay, I know we talked about We Do and everything. That's been a big thing here. The dredging project that we have is so much bigger than what the We Do machine could do. We need the We Do machine. I would love to have the We Do machine as general maintenance for the lake and for some of the ponds on the golf course. Hopefully, after we finish the dredging here in a year or two, we can invest and get the We Do machine. Maybe if we raise money, work through the foundation, maybe the community can get the We Do machine. We have mowers and things that work on all of our other areas of the property. Kevin O'Brien was right. We need a maintenance machine for the lake. But the We Do machine was not enough for us to hire a full staff and handle what is in that lake. So ultimately, I was talking with the board, we were doing our research, and we thought it would be better to bring in professionals that are state permitted, that have the equipment, that can get in here and get this job done in a hurry and in an efficient way. And I'm about to show you why the route we're going is really, really good. We are going to do what's called hydraulic dredging. We are not going to bring in a barge and a backhoe and pile up big piles of mud on the side of the water. We're going to do what's called hydraulic dredging. We're going to use water to pump all of this mud out. And typically when you dredge, you take it out of the lake, you put it on the side of the hill. So down there near Sally Doss, where all that grass was, we were looking at either putting bags that absorb the mud or just piling it up. We're going to take out 30,000 cubic yards of muck from that lake. And any of you ever been to a construction site and see where they clear the property and they do a whole lot of grading and they pile up this big old giant pile of dirt? Anybody ever seen that? Well, that big old giant pile of dirt of what you see on a construction site is 10,000 cubic yards. We're talking 30,000 cubic yards. We would have to pile up 3 big giant piles of dirt to dry over probably 3 or 4 months before we put it in a truck and start hauling it off. So that's what we were facing when looking at doing this project all at once. We went out to bids. There's 17 companies that do dredging in Georgia. We sent out an RFP to all 17 of them. We had 2 that came back. Our project was too small for a lot of them. The timing wasn't right as far as what we needed done. And let me just tell y'all something. People don't want to deal with HOAs. Companies do not want to do business with HOAs. HOAs are cheap. They're tough to work with. People don't get paid. So I have a lot of contractors that I brought from the county that I want to work with that will not work with HOAs. They say, we just don't do it. We've been shafted too many times for that. So in this situation, there are a lot of dredging companies that didn't want to work with an HOA. We found 2 that did. We found a barge company to bring in a barge and a big hook and pile up the mud and take it off. And we found this hydraulic company that's going to hydraulic remove all the mud. They're going to pump it into the machine that you see on the top there. And this is the coolest aspect of what we're paying for. They're going to pump the mud into that machine. That machine is a drying agent. So that machine takes the mud that's pumped into it every day, dries it, and then dumps it out on the end there into a dump truck to haul off the mud. So we're not going to be piling up mud, and we're not going to be leaving dirt there around our lake as an eyesore to our community for long, long periods of time. So we'll haul it out. All right, where are we going to take it to? That's the question everybody wants to ask. You got all this mud, where are you going to take it to? We do have some low areas in Bent Tree. Over near the quarry, we have some areas that could be filled in. Kind of around the golf course, we do have some areas that could be filled in. Ashley Brownell, who's our operations director, knows a lot of people with construction companies and doing projects that actually want our dirt. They want to take it. They're going to bring trucks in and they're going to haul it off site. So it's going to be a combination. We have a lot of dirt to put places. Some of it we can put here very, very easily. Some of it's going to be taken off site. So it's using resources within our network to do that. And so we've got a contract we're working with. We got a price. We're working with the contractor. We anticipate they're going to mobilize in February, and it's going to take them all the way through December. So about 10 months worth of work to do one cove at a time. We're going to try to get them to do the beach first so we can be finished by the time all of you need to get out there and get your tan and use the beach. So we want the beach to function. You know, we might have some headaches or some heartburn through the remainder of this year dealing with this project, but we're going to get it done in 1 year. And because we were able to do it at one time, 1.5 million became 1.2 million because we have one mobilization and we're keeping this company in business for almost a year. So I will, at the end, I'll take Q&As if any of you have any more dredging questions, but that's kind of the meat and the bones of the dredging. Road paving. We usually road pave every other year. We were able to find money to do one small paving project for next year, and it's one small project, but it's one giant project for this community. It's Little Pine Mountain Road. And as you've seen over the years, that's our main road. When people come into our community, or most all of you have to use it to get to somewhere. It's in dire shape. Potholes, cracking, some of the asphalt sliding off, just rough shape. And so we're going to put it out to bid. We're going to do the 2-mile stretch from where the sign is right before you get into the front gate. Coming through the front gate, we're going to go around where the cottage is to secure all that up. And then we're going to go all the way down to the 19th hole. That's going to be a full milling project. We're going to mill the thing down like we do. We're going to patch it all so no cracks or potholes are underneath. And then we're going to put the asphalt layer on the top. Little Pine Mountain Road carries the heavy trucks, so it's a little bit more of an asphalt project than you see other places. Other places we put usually 1.5 inches, 2 inches of asphalt. Little Pine Mountain gets 4 inches of asphalt. So it's built up pretty good. It's a pretty durable road to handle all the trucks that come in. And this will be a project that road will probably last about 20 years with all the traffic that it gets. So that'll be a big paving job. It's a little bit tougher one to pave because we got to keep that road open. We can't close Little Pine. So we'll have flaggers in here and it'll take them a little bit longer to do that work than 9 days. The water main line replacement, we're going to go 5,000 linear feet next year again, and it's going to happen in the Alpine Drive area. So if you live in Alpine Drive, you're going to see the trench cut and roads coming through there. Those of you, anybody ever seen this building before? You live on Big Stump, you've seen it before. It's up on the very top of the mountain. That's our AT&T cell tower up behind it. But that is a pump house for our water system, and that's the highest point of our community. So that's a pretty big pump that takes the water to get up there. That pump needs to be replaced, and the house that's guarding it is about to fall in. It's pretty much dust as well. So we've engineered this all year. Next year it'll be a project where we come in and we put a new pump in place and put a new protective house around it. So that'll be a big water project. And this is another big water project. This is a 2-year project. In 2026, we're going to be doing the engineering of this project. In 2027, we'll be putting the new tank in actually, but it'll be a tank that looks like this. It'll be on Little Hendricks Mountain, and this will serve our System 2. System 2 handles about 300 houses in Bent Tree. It goes from the Little Hendricks Mountain. It'll serve all your houses. It goes down to the front gate, and it goes down Bent Tree Drive. So this is more water storage to get to that area, so we have a better water supply. This is probably about a $400,000 project when it's all said and done. 5 years ago, this was a $250,000 project that is now $400,000. So as you see, putting things off only makes it more expensive. Our golf maintenance facility and our fleet maintenance center, that's down across from the golf course. It is a metal building. It's relatively old. A lot of the bolts in the roof have rusted, creating holes and water gaps. That's what the ceiling looks like a lot in there. We're going to go through, we're not putting an entire new roof on that building, but we are going to put some new parts of the roof, some new grommets in there, and we're going to seal the entire roof for that. We're going to be making, we're pretty much done at the 19th hole, but we are going to give our professionals some more money to update the pro shop there. So you're going to see some new flooring, some new painting, and some new display cases in there. Like I said, he's a merchandising expert. We're going to give them a lot of places to display the merchandise. That's not the design. I wish our pro shop would look like that. Maybe it will when it's out, but no, I took that offline. But just to show you, it's going to look different than what it looks now. You see the pipe again that we put in on number 11. We have about 3 places in our golf course where erosion is getting the best of us through culverts that have either collapsed or closed up. And so we're going to be making those improvements and opening up a couple channels in there to help water distribute better through the golf course. We're going to finish phase 2 of our irrigation system, and this is going to be replacing some lines, some valves, and some heads where the actual water actually comes out of the golf course. And so that'll finish up that project. Golf course bunkers. Yeah, it's been a sore subject in the community, our investment in our golf course. You know, our bunkers are very, very old. They're an important part of our golf infrastructure. They're very, very high maintenance. This is a bunker that was from the original design. And so when we get a big rainstorm, water washes the sand out of it. So our staff has to, after every rainstorm, come and scoop the sand up and put it back in. And when they scoop it back up, it's not white, beautiful sand, it's red clay. So we have some of our bunkers that are renovated nice. It costs about $20,000 for us to dig out a bunker, put in a porous concrete that drains, and put in the nice sand. And we have done a lot of those in the past. We haven't done any in a while. Our Golf and Greens are working on a master plan of what our priority bunkers are to where we need to renovate in the future. But they're also looking at taking some bunkers out to reduce our maintenance costs. And so next year, the board has put in $15,000, and they've identified 5 bunkers that are going to be eliminated from the golf course. We're just going to fill them with dirt. We're going to grade them. We're going to grass them to where it looks very, very, very well. It looks like part of the golf course. This is one of them for those of you that play number 14. The one up on the top side of the bunker. I don't ever hit my ball there, so so I don't know about it. But it's actually one of the worst shaped bunkers, and it's going to be filled in and grassed over. So it's going to be a combination of renovating some of the greenside bunkers we have and eliminating some other bunkers that are just maintenance headaches. We have an annual discretionary fund. I've done that in our budget for a lot. It gives our staff the leeway to be able to do projects as they come up. We have culverts throughout our entire community that fail and risk washing out roads or people's properties. And so this discretionary fund, we keep going each year. Next year, we have some major projects, especially around the Little Pine area. So we've increased this budget for next year. We're hoping to do 3 to 4 culvert projects within our road system. So little by little is how we do stuff at Big Tree. I know this picture is a stream on the golf course, but the riprap has really kept that bank intact, and we're going to come back in, and this is a recommendation of Lake and Wildlife that we have funds that Brian works with our staff. We're going to riprap Mulligan Creek to keep that bank intact through there. We're doing the dredging project to dredge out Mulligan. We want to secure the banks, especially since that's one of the biggest areas where silt enters our community. So you'll see the riprap done next year. And again, this is a crop picture. I don't know what the engineer design is going to look like, but Lake and Wildlife's Lake Tamarack Recreation Area Plan, this is number 1 that we're putting into action, and it's building a new retaining wall off the side of the pavilion that needs to be in place. It's eventually where your stage is planned for the future, so we need to get the retaining wall built first, so that'll be a big project that Travis and his crews undertake. So it'll look real good coming off of there. Just because you showed up today, I'm going to talk a little bit more than just the email that you got. Yeah, general manager and your board is up to no good again. Actually, I want to say this the best way possible. It's still in action, so I can't give you a whole lot of details about it, but I do want to tell you what's going on. 2 initiatives that the board has had this year, and it was in the vision plan, is find something to do with the 28 acres. A good plan that's going to generate some revenue for our community. And also, what in the heck are we going to do with the stables? You know, the stables have been closed down for the year. The efforts was to put a little bit of money in it, renovate it, find somebody to operate it. In a lot of my past jobs before, I've dealt with stables. If you think people that deal with horses and stables have a lot of money, you're wrong. I mean, Milton looks beautiful, and driving through Milton, most people must be poor beyond means of doing that, because there's not a lot of money in boarding and raising horses and doing that. They scratch and claw for everything. But I do believe the stables, if you have a facility like we have, that's where our money needs to go, into the facility and the amenity. The operation thereof should be a business that somebody else runs. And so that is the process that we've been looking for this year. I sent out an RFP, sent it through some connections to go nationwide to look at a business to come in and lease that property and run the stables at no cost to Bentry, no cost of the operation. We have general maintenance and we'll pay the water bill, but we want somebody to come in and operate it. And we sent out an RFP to do that, and we didn't have a really good response. And the reason we didn't have a good response is because our stables is built in a rock quarry. There is no grass. You have to put your horses in a pasture that have no grass. You have to feed them hay. So anybody that knows anything about horses, they don't want to feed their horse hay all the time. They want grass. They want to let them roam. So our facility is not ideal for somebody that knows what they're doing to run an equestrian business. Should we close it down? Yes, we've gotten to that point where we might just need to close it down and it not be an amenity, just because it's just such a tough facility to operate. However, from the RFP and a connection of a contact that I had in Oklahoma City one day, where a barrel racing competition was going on, there was somebody a couple that has run a stables for over 20 years, a very successful stables in southern Forsyth County, that are losing their property, what they lease and what they own, because a new development is coming in. So they're forced with closing down their business and selling off all their horses and property. They keep 35 horses on their property. It's a major operation. It is an impressive operation. It is a beautiful stables facility. They were telling my contact, who I know, that, yeah, we're going to have to close it down. And they said, well, have you talked to Jim Pryor at Bent Tree? And they said, no, where's Bent Tree? You know, it's that neighborhood up there next to Big Canoe. Oh, so they reached out to me. They came up and they looked at our stables. And I said, hey, you want to operate our stables? You want to move your business up here? They said, no. No, we had 20, 35 horses that we're bringing up here with us. You know, we like to live where we board our horses. We like to have our horses on green grass. Your stables just don't do it for us. Do you have any other property around the area where we could make our operation bigger? And they came across the 28 acres and they're like, wow, could we buy that from you? And I was like, maybe. I don't know, maybe. You got a lot of hurdles to cross. You better be able to jump. And so through this relationship and through the past couple of weeks, you know, we've kind of looked at a plan of them coming in and buying the 28 acres for a hefty price and doing a 10-year commitment to operate our stables to where they can keep horses at both locations, and it's a short rotation coming in and out of the back gate, and there's a trail that leads up there. They can rotate the horses between the stables area and that property. So this couple is looking at building a house, building a barn, putting up horse fences, and making the 28 acres a pasture stable as you come into our community. That's kind of the gist of what we're talking about right now. And running the stables for a 10-year commitment. You know what? You get rid of the 28 acres in the stables, you have that set up for 10 years, you don't need me anymore. Because those are two of the biggest headaches. We buy the mail center from the U.S. Postal Service, and then all my headaches are gone. So anyway, so the lesson we learned from the previous project that came through is I've been working with this couple to do our due diligence, to put a real estate contract in place on the property, to meet with the county and the zoning officials to make sure it's something that the county would sign off on, to do a stables lease agreement, which they sat down with the stables committee the other day, and I threw a 15-page template, pretty aggressive stables lease agreement, and they looked at it and said, we have no problems whatsoever. This is the way we do business. So win for Big Bentry if they take over the stables, because that's they're quite an operation. But all the due diligence, that's what I'm working on right now, finalizing a lot of things. Working with our attorney. I've been meeting with our attorney almost every other day about this, about the covenants. One thing I can tell you about the 28 acres, and this is the word from our attorney, it is part of Bentry. For me to sell that to somebody else and have no Bentry control over it takes 100% of you.
Wow.
I can't convince 100% of you that water is wet. So there's no chance in the world that we will ever sell that property to someone else and it won't be under Bentry's control. If we sell this property, it has the ability to have its own covenants, but it will be under architectural review, and of course it'll be under zoning review of the county. So there's a lot of things that have to happen for this to come into play. Right now, everything is leading towards a positive. We haven't really come up with any snags yet, but I'm still doing due diligence. Once I get to the point where all the due diligence is done, I'll go to the board of directors. We'll roll out the plan. We'll roll out the specifics. It's their choice if they want to go to a community vote or not. So that is still coming somewhere down the line of yes or no. The deal could fall through. It could never get to the board, or it could be good and it could go to the board and the board could say, we don't want to do this, or we want to send it to the community. That's where we're at right now with things. So, keep an eye on what's coming up here with the board. There might be a special called meeting within the next 2 weeks. There might be something in months later. We don't know. But as I say with the thing, we were at a crossroads with our stables operation in the 28 acres. They were at a crossroads with their business. Crossroads meet at opportunity is what I say. And so this isn't a whim. This isn't something that just came out of air or something that I'm forcing down your throat. It's an opportunity that I think is a win for Bentry. And as your general manager, everything I do is for Bentry to win. And so, with this, if we move forward, it's because myself and the board think it's a win. But the greatest control that Bentry has is to do anything major in this community. It takes 67% of all of you to make it happen. That's the ultimate control of this community. Some people might like it or some people might hate it. With this, don't hate the general manager because he's bringing this forward. It's an opportunity. And the people will talk and say whether it'll happen or not with it all. So that's kind of as far as I can go with it all to update you. That's more than I've been able to tell anybody else in the community. And so look forward. There might be some excitement and some definite numbers coming out. But the thing is if it goes in front of you, we'll roll it out. We'll give you all the details we can, and it'll be your decision on whether you want it or not. So as always, 2026 is right in front of us. Hopefully it'll be a great year for Bentry and for all of you. So thank you. I know time-wise, I like to talk. I don't know if you want to get out of here. If you want to go, it doesn't offend me. I'll take a couple questions if you want to ask. All right, Ken Tanadine here. This might be one question.
Post office.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All righty. The post office. Wow. I met with the postmaster at the post office a couple weeks ago. I keep in touch with him multiple times during the week. He has a very, very difficult job. And all I can tell you is he explained to me on how the operations of the post office work now. And I'm 30 minutes dumber in my life. That's 30 minutes I'll never get back. The new way of delivering mail is a federal employee negotiating with a union head. And that is how your mail service is run in the United States. Man, I might be good, but I ain't that good. What I learned is that our postmaster is paid to do what's called a track. It's a job. And she is represented by 2 unions. She has more power than the postmaster. The postmaster has no power. And I've talked to John Ossoff. Well, that was 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back either. And I'm not complaining about the Bentry Post Office of John Ossoff, don't get me wrong. I'm complaining about the process of the government and how they operate the post office and their micromanagement, and they don't give any control to anybody to run anything. That's why it's a mess. But anyway, in technical terms, I can tell you, the person that delivers your mail treats Bent Tree like it's an apartment complex. Her job is to load the mail truck, to drive up here, to put parcel boxes in parcel lockers, and put mail in boxes, and to turn around and go home. Her job isn't to work the front window anymore. News to me. You know, I've been trying all along to say, you know, just give me 4 hours a day. Let me tell everybody it's open from 12 to 4, and that'll make things right. And that's where I thought we were headed. But no, the new Union track is for her to load up everything and drive away. Amazon. I have not shut Amazon out of the community. Amazon drivers come in this community when they want, and they drive their car into ditches, and they drive their car over the side of mountains, and they try to come in the back gate, and it doesn't open, and they drive right through the back gate. And they speed, and we send them citations, and we send them a bill to fix the back gate, and they pay us. Okay? But being your representative and your general manager, I try to make mail delivery efficient around here. We have emailed Jeff Bezos 3 times. Jeff Bezos reads his email. Seriously. Because all 3 times the next day, we've had executives from Amazon visit us here. So you email Jeff Bezos at his personal address, he may not read it, but it's being attended to. That's the good thing I have to say about him. All 3 times, I pointed out 3 different locations in Bent Tree. The campground, where the old recycling center was, and even a spot there next to the front gate where I told Amazon, I will give you this property for you to build Amazon delivery station. And all 3 times they said, well, thank you. We do this in a lot of communities. We'll think about it. And all 3 times they have come back to me and they said, Bent Tree doesn't do enough business for us. It's not important for us to make that investment. So they will continue. To some people they deliver. I guess if you're Amazon Prime Plus, they're going to come to your house. If you're just Amazon Prime or Amazon, they're going to deliver it through the post office. They have a very low negotiated rate to send it through the post office. That's a mess. Do we need more package lockers? Do we need to add on to our mail center? I've offered that. I have offered the U.S. Postal Service, I will fund a part-time employee to work that front window and just hand out packages. Can't do it. I have offered to pay the U.S. Postal Service enough for a part-time position to work at that front window. No, can't do it. So if you've ever negotiated before, you've negotiated with a wall that's not going to give you anything, that's what I'm dealing with right now. So that's our post office. And ultimately, my sad response to you as general manager is the USPS operates that building. They have full control over that building. They have full control of that mail center. I'm sorry, you got to contact Michael Jordan. People have done it. They've met with him. It's been ugly. He just has his hands are tied. I actually feel sorry for the guy, because I talk to him a lot. I report everything. I have actually started telling residents, and don't kill me for this, but if you value your mail and you want good delivery, you go to the Jasper post office and buy a box and have everything delivered there and drive into town every day. That is the most efficient route for you to get your mail, and I'm sorry. Mitchell.
You can also get a box agreement with the UPS store.
Mm-hmm.
We just did that.
Yes.
And we changed, that's our default address by Amazon.
Okay.
So it will not go through the US mail, it will be UPS to us.
That's great. You know, the UPS driver that's worked this neighborhood, we've had 2 of them since I've been here. He's awesome, and he treks these roads great. So, you know, if I live in Bent Tree and I have the option of who's delivering my stuff, a UPS is going to get that. Yeah.
That's their partner.
Yeah.
And that's where you're running into the problems.
Right.
Guys getting robbed by Amazon, basically. I know
Yeah.
somebody tried it and he made less than $30,000 and destroyed a vehicle.
Right.
Some of them have the vehicles too. It's not working. There's not as much as people think there's a lot of packages here.
Yeah.
Price Amazon Facebook package. It's not enough.
Yeah, Amazon pays 3 cents to the post office to deliver a package. Their post office losing money on that deal. That's why they're such a bad business, I guess.
What would it take to make Bentry a post office?
It would,
See, we only have, the
Yeah.
task for post office.
yeah. It would take us doing what Big Canoe did and making the investment of having all your addresses changed and having it all come to one address and a Bentry employee delving out packages. As my discussions with the board, why are we going to take money out of your pockets to do money that the federal government is supposed to be doing? I mean,
We couldn't have a post office with postal employees, just like everybody else, federal employees man it.
well, what we got there right now was funded partially by the post office. I don't think you're going to get that investment. Yeah. I've tried. I've had the discussion. And I'm sorry, but I also go to bed at night knowing that it's not my problem to solve Amazon or the USPS's problems. Good question, Ken. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Not to change the subject, but the dredging, do we have those kind of funds to go ahead and go with that whole project this year?
Yes, it was just included in the 2026 budget and approved. It's been approved by the board. So
Don't need to borrow money.
the funds are there. No, we are not borrowing money. It's funds that we've had through additional revenue sources.
Okay. It's not gonna break us?
No. We're still keeping a reserve of close to $500,000.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
But will the assessments go up, to,
Well, it's not going up because of dredging. It's going up because the CCNRs allow the board to go up. Help me. The CBI plus 2%. The board has the ability to do that. So typically, you're going to see that go up over years. That funds the operation and the capital of things. So the assessment's going up next year 3.6%, but it's not because of the dredging project, even though some of those funds are going to the dredging project. But it would have gone up whether we did the dredging project or not. We've got plenty of projects. We got projects lined up for years to go through. All right, I'm going to take that cue to stop there. Thank you so much.
Jim, it's a pleasure. I just want to thank you. Great guy to work with. Great GM. Thanks for being there. Hope you can stay around another 3 or more, Jim.
Well, I got me under contract for 2 more years.
All right, good. Thank you very much. Thanks for staying this morning. Have a great Christmas and a great holiday season, and we'll see you in February.